Welcome back. Um, what? Today's conversation is going to get a little weird. Um, because it's another like little update thing. But it's a little different than I would normally probably do. So we're back in the car. Some of the more observant of you might notice it is not the same car as in the last video. Though you have been in this car with me before, back when I was doing videos at gymnastics and stuff like that. But the reason is the van that was my baby, not really baby, but the van that I used to drive as my daily driver essentially no longer exists. It is in a parts field somewhere being picked apart for other people to use because essentially I fell asleep at the wheel and hit another car. I've never disputed that, and I'm not going to dispute it. I still think it was due to some variety of combination of the medications I was on at the time. But I don't remember the accident, and that could just be, I got punched in the face by an airbag. But everyone's fine. We somehow miraculously hit an empty car that was being towed by a tow truck. And so talking to the driver of the tow truck at the scene, he was like, I saw you coming, and I realized something was going to happen, so I just punched it. So he floored it and sacrificed the car that he was towing. And like I hit the thing hard enough to throw it off of the tow truck. It was being, we're not talking like on a flatbed. It was being traditional pull tow truck. So its rear wheels were on the ground, and I threw it off and like a good 20 something feet away from the truck. So I don't know how fast I was going. I don't know anything. Basically, my recollections of that day are I turned onto the road that I normally turn on to take my kids to school. I merged over one lane. I opened my eyes and there was a truck in front of me, and I slammed on the brakes. It was like a blink. I merged over. I made sure everything was clear, merged, and then my eyes shut, my eyes opened, there's a truck in front of me, and obviously I had gone several hundred feet down the road. Don't even know which lane I was in. I was assuming I drifted over into the left lane, but I couldn't tell you. I can't tell you any more details than that because I don't know them, other than I was fine, my seatbelt held on fine. Apparently Honda Odysseys have a history of being really safe for the passengers and the driver, but not very safe for the car itself. So usually if they're in an accident, they get totaled. I had the front airbags went off, and the side curtains on the passenger side went off. So yeah, who knows? I do not know what happened. I just know everyone involved is okay, which is the important part. Vehicles can be replaced, people can't, right? The twins were in the car with me at the time. Thankfully, the worst that they got was some seatbelt burn from their seatbelts on their car seats. And that's been the hardest part of it all for me, is thinking that and we're going to get morbid for a second. Ready to get morbid? Let's get morbid. If you don't want to get morbid, skip for a bit, but we're going to get morbid for a second. It's the fact that, there is an alternate universe where me and two of my children are no longer here, And like, I don't even know that it happened because I wasn't conscious. And that's fucked up to think about, but that's one of the things that my brain keeps going to. And it's not really, I mean, that's the part that's been bothering me the most, is that I could have hurt the two of them and I never would have known. Because one of the things I don't know, because everything's so choppy for a little bit, is like, did I get knocked out in the accident? I don't know. Because, I mean, airbags are kind of notorious for doing that, for giving people concussions and knocking them out. Because it literally inflates like stupid fast. I split my lip, so I had a split lip from where my lip hit my teeth, my bottom lip hit my teeth. But yeah, so I don't know if I lost consciousness after the accident for any amount of time. But I remember seeing people coming towards the car. So if I did, it wasn't for very long. But the cop was almost immediately on the scene, which is crazy. Which that's what causes me to doubt and have doubts and wonders to the timeline of events. But I quickly was able to evaluate myself. Everything's good. Evaluate. The twins were both upset. Very obviously, as you would think if you were just in a giant accident. So yeah, I checked on them. I made sure they were okay. Paramedics got there. We had them like kind of just take a quick look over and ask them some questions. Like I said, the only real injuries they seemed to have was some basically rope burn from their seatbelts. And right now I think they're having like a little bit of like leftover side effects, because like they both complained about kind of that same spot on their shoulder being sore in the past couple of days. So that might just be some like, I don't know, deeper tissue muscle stuff resolving itself. I have no idea. I'm just kind of talking. But man, nice way to change up your perspective a little bit, right? So yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting, is like, there's this element of survivor's guilt a little bit, which is, weird because there were no not survivors. But like, there's the understanding of what could have happened, and like stuff I've been trying to avoid and stuff I've been trying to do. Like, as you can see, I found a flavor of Monster I really like. It's orange dreamsicle, and it's fantastic. Tastes like orange dreamsicle. So if you like orange soda and you like orange dreamsicles, but yeah, so I've upped my caffeine intake because it helps. But I'm making sure, I'm trying to. So it's weird. And caffeine is a stimulant. It helps. It helps with your brain function. It helps with your brain processes. I usually have a cup of coffee in the morning, and then that would be it. I would have the 1 cup, which is really probably 2 cups, because the way people measure cups of coffee is stupid. So, like, I have the cup of coffee in the morning, and then I was starting to get drowsy due to one of the medications that I was on, like kind of around 7:45, 8 o'clock every day. We just have this like kind of lull where my brain just got really tired, and I was really tired, and stuff happened. And well, obviously stuff happened. But no, it just I noticed it was getting hard to stay awake and focus while driving. So I've was started using a tea. So there's like a Tazo tea called Awake that I really like. So I was using that to supplement the caffeine from the coffee. And now I'm using this because it's got some of the other good stuff for your brain too, which is like the L-carnitine and the guarine and stuff like that, like stuff that allegedly the nootropics that help with brain function and shit, and B vitamins. Because that's what these energy drinks are, basically. It's just like a cocktail of nootropics and vitamins and supplements to help with brain function, mixed with a little bit of basically like soda. So, or whatever they do, their tea or whatever. This happens to be orange soda that is slightly dreamsicle flavored, and it's really, really tasty. Like, I would honestly just drink this to drink it. It's also only 120 calories a can, so it's not diet. So I do have to factor that into the abysmal state of my physical health and diet. That I'm consuming an extra 120 calories a day, which is essentially a second cup of coffee because of how much creamer I use in my coffee. But so that's not too terrible. So that's kind of the weird stuff that's been going on. I got a new project I'm working on with a friend of mine, so we'll see how that goes. We still got to do some stuff for it. It's a challenge for writing music, so that's definitely something I need to do. I also need to practice guitar because I have a guitar lesson on Thursday and I'm not ready. That is kind of the big thing, right? Just and that's why I want to talk about this stuff, right? I want to talk about the mental health stuff because it's like, it's trying not to get lost in the could have beens and should have beens and might haves and could haves of what ended up happening. Because you can get lost down there forever, right? And you can constantly question yourself and constantly like kick yourself, like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. And that's in a way, like, I'm happy about the incident because no one got seriously injured. But at the same time, like, I know how bad it could have been. And knowing how bad it could have been is the hard part, because that's how it, like, that's the part that like haunts you, right? Because it is like a haunting. It's like that ghost of like, this could be this bad. Because my brain can easily go, and here there's just a little example, right? It's like, what if one or more of the twins passed away in the accident? I survived. I would feel terrible, like absolutely terrible. My wife almost definitely would not forgive me for it. So I can't see a world in which I'm responsible for the loss of life of one of my children and my marriage being intact. Like, I don't see a world in which that happens. So yeah, like, and continue down that rabbit hole, right? And that's where I don't want to go, and that's where I don't want to be, and it's where my brain keeps trying to go. And some days it's harder than others to keep it from going down that road. It's been a little easier lately now because it's been a few weeks since the accident at this point. Um, and by the time you guys see this, it'll have been like probably about a month since the accident. Um, so that is what it is. Um, so yeah, it's getting a little easier not to dwell on it and to kind of move past it. Um, but interestingly, one of the things that I've been trying to do lately, and actually, we can talk about this. So it's our last conversation. We started talking about Jediism, and so part of it, the very obvious one was, well, obviously the Force was with me that day. That kind of a mentality of like, the universe aligned itself in just the right way because, how the hell did I hit a car that had no one in it? No one gets hurt. Just like that whole line of thinking is just like, how does the universe align that way? And yeah, it's coincidence or just luck, dumb luck, or whatever. But as a lot of people like to say, I don't believe in luck. So, yeah. I mean, that is how you choose to perceive the world, right? Um, so yeah, something is watching over. If that's how you feel inclined to believe, something was watching out. Something decided it wasn't time yet. Something decided that there needed to be a different lesson learned. But it happened. So how do we learn from it? What can we learn from it? What can we take away? How can we use this situation for good? And what can we do to kind of like look towards the future? So we decided that our best course of action is to practice to a degree for New Zealand. Because our goal in New Zealand is we want to have a small SUV and that's a plug-in hybrid, and we want to have a fully electric compact car / sedan. Like that's our kind of goals for how we want to live and maintain stuff while in New Zealand. So my wife drives a mid-size SUV. It's a Hyundai Santa Fe. Now my Hyundai Santa Fe. We were both we're both illegal owners of this vehicle, so it's, it wasn't a huge deal or anything. And then we have, so we use the money from the totaling of my van to buy a sedan. And we just bought a Nissan Versa. Nothing special right now, but the idea is like we wanted the same size vehicles we're anticipating / looking to use and drive. And we wanted to make sure it's feasible. Like I can get around and get the kids around in the SUV, and my wife can get herself to and from work in her car, and then deal with the kids as needed kind of in the SUV. So like that's where we sit in the grand scheme of things, is we're decided to use it as a, hey, this is an excuse for us to get to a point where we are preparing ourselves for what life is going to be like when we are in New Zealand, and we are doing what we need and want to do while we're there. So yeah, we're looking to get to we're practicing for New Zealand. We're just looking to get past it at this point. Um, we got a shockingly little amount of time. Things are going to start flying soon, like absolutely flying soon, and I don't know how we're going to handle that yet. It's going to get plenty stressful, I bet. Because right now it is the end of March, as this is being recorded. This is going to be out towards the beginning of April, mid-April. And end of July is when we expect to be in New Zealand. So we've got like 4 months. Yeah, less than 4 months. We will be in a different country. Our entire house will be packed up and on a boat somewhere. And we will have sold a house, hopefully. We have sold the cars. We will have visited family. It's going to be a crazy 4 months. Crazy 4 months. And you are welcome to come along for the ride. I want to bring you along if you would like to come along. It's going to be a little different than what I was hoping to post in here, but we'll do some stuff. Cool. So I will get going because I got an errand to run here. And we will talk again in the near future. And hopefully I'll be able to talk to you about the stuff I'm doing with my friend Victor soon. Because I'm looking forward to that. Cheers. Love you. See you next time. Haha! Clapboard. Motherfucker. I'm glad I have that. Anyway, I'm gonna call our HOA to confirm. I need to call our HOA today. Remember to call your HOA today. Call your fucking HOA. Okay, and I'm not ready. So yeah, Monster, sponsor me. Send me Orange Dream single. All right. Yeah, so that's, ooh, it got nice and dark. Let's see how it adjusts. Hey, good for you, camera. Good on you.